Well, hi everyone. I'm making this video right now to try to start this experiment of what an online community for the Wesley is going to have to look like for maybe the next 8 weeks or so. In any case, we're here now, and all we can do is what we can with what we have. And the more time that I spend taking inventory of what we have, and the more time that I spend thinking about what we can do, I'm constantly discovering that we have a lot, and we still have each other. And over the winter break, I went through a lot of changes in my life where I graduated from school and I moved to a new town in the Metroplex. All of my day-to-days were shifting really rapidly, and I was starting to feel quite unsettled. I was spending holidays in new places that were very kind, wonderful, and accepting to me, but everything felt strange. And I think that we're there now, where everything's feeling kind of strange. But when we returned to the Wesley in January, I was really shocked at how much comfort everyone brought to me just by being themselves and by being around. And what I'm trying to say is that, when we find ourselves in weird times and the social distance that we're taking might feel isolating to us in a lot of ways, it's important that we continue to find ways to gather together in whatever capacity it might be. And so, we've been in conversation about how we want to continue to minister to all the students at the Denton Wesley at UNT and TWU, while also maintaining all the recommended safety precautions. We've been reflecting on this quote that says, "The Chinese use two brush strokes to write the word crisis. And one brush stroke stands for danger, the other stands for opportunity. And in a crisis, we have to be aware of danger, but we also have to recognize opportunity." And there are real hardships that we're facing. There are real dangers that we're facing. And we're beginning to feel isolated in a lot of ways. I know that I have. But this is also time for creatives to thrive, as we're forced to rethink how we conduct our daily lives. It did not feel beneficial for me to play songs on my guitar in my apartment here when we have the whole wealth of material from the internet at our disposal. And so what we're going to start doing as a music ministry to serve us throughout our weeks is we're going to start making some playlists together. It will be available on YouTube. Links will be ample across Wesley's social media resources, and this will be designed to both complement Haley's video sermons and to supply ourselves with some life. It will give us the opportunity to share media that is giving us life right now, and we might not be able to share during a typical Tuesday night worship. There will be songs that would typically be doing during worship, but also a significant amount of secular songs and videos that have captured music that's spontaneously and organically happening in the midst of really heavy situations. The intention is not that you'll binge it all in a moment, like we do in a typical Tuesday evening service. Of the poor, that you won't binge it like you will during a typical Tuesday evening. I hope you sit on it throughout the week and keep coming back to it and follow the rabbit holes wherever it takes you. Also, I want to be a visible leader for this community and for y'all to see my face still, so that you can know that the leadership of the Wesley is still taking our roles as ministers very seriously, even if at a distance. And so I'll keep making short videos each week, much like this one, explaining some of the things that we're going to be including in our playlist and why. So let me tell you a little bit about this week's playlist and the sounds that we're going to be bringing to you. First off, good vibrations. When you have the chance to hear Haley's sermon, it will hopefully be rather apparent why the lyrical content of that is appropriate, given that she'll be talking about prayer in times like this and describing it as really communication of energy between beings and how it's something that is important for us to be doing for one another. But more than that, it's a fun song. It's important that in long days of isolation like this, that we might be finding ourselves to continue to just dance and groove in the face of it all, to keep experience and freedom that comes with getting the chance to just unlock your body and let it be with the groove. So please, dance with it. Something else I include in here is the White Stripes. The animating theory of the White Stripes is that they have pared themselves down to some of the raw essentials of music making. They would be forced to be more creative, and I think that it's an apt metaphor that I'm embracing right now as I approach everything these days, and I hope we can be inspired at the art that they're making as a result of this process. It never stops being wild and free, and reminds us that our emotions that we're feeling just can't be contained in any box or traditional structure. So I hope that we can assume some of that animating theory as well as we approach whatever it is that that life is leading us these days. Let's see. I also included this tune called "A Love Supreme" by John Coltrane, and one of our fellow Wesley members, Aaron Stewart, shared this story about John Coltrane with me a few months ago, and it struck pretty deeply with me, where he said the Coltrane meant for this piece to be like a prayer or an ode to the most supreme love that he knew, and it gave him the strength to overcome some very dire and adverse circumstances. And so I think if we're able to take the time to absorb the sounds that Coltrane's making, the sounds of his own prayer, his own ode, that we can reflect that, it could be reflected in how we're approaching some of the adversities that we're finding ourselves in our lives, because I have the feeling that there's enough of them. Now, Amazing Grace. How sweet the sound. I included a video of Barack Obama singing this hymn that he summoned during a eulogy, actually, for a reverend who lost her life to gun violence in 2015. It seemed like another good time to share this moment and be reminded of this moment. To raise a song together, to be brought in common with each other by a common source of song together. He said that he would do that song, that he would sing it because he thought people would sing with him. And so I hope that in our own ways, we're finding our ways to sing with each other, near and far. But most importantly, I really want everyone to leave your links to the music and mediums that you're listening to right now to get you through these days. What is distracting you? What is making you feel good about yourselves? What is giving you some just a sense of profundity and in some of these long days, and I hope that we can have a musical conversation back and forth in the comment section. And I also don't want these playlists, as we keep going, I don't want them to be exclusively me that's putting things on there. I really want to curate things that reflect our Wesley community. So please leave comments of things that you're listening to, and so we can be in that musical conversation together throughout all of this. Thanks all for watching this. I hope that the playlist over the course of this week is something that you're able to return to and continues to give life to you, and that we can keep doing it week to week. We can keep finding ways to improve upon it and to be more connected to each other in spite of everything that's happening. So be well. I love you all, and I can't wait to get to see everyone. Have a great day.